On today's DNVR Buffs Live, we finally have made it. Day one of fall camp. We had Coach Flea on the podium. We had Trevor Woods on the podium. Lots to get into for day one. Let's go.
Let's go!
Let's go, man. Day one of fall camp. We're coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota Stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. We have made it.
Oh, our long national nightmare is over.
How was day one for you, man? How are you feeling right now?
I was just like looking at myself in the mirror a few seconds ago, and I'm like, oh, man, I have that day one glow.
Yeah.
I have that football in my eyes glow.
We smelt the grass today, the smell of football pads, just being out there.
The sound, the whistles, the harumphs.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
It really is. Congrats to you too, chat. We made it. Now we begin the march, 25-day march, basically, or 25 practices, I should say, march.
Yep. I posted the picture of exactly how long it is. About 31 days and 3 hours.
Yep. I think it's a month directly from today. Yeah, today's the 29th.
Beautiful thing.
It is. Let's just get right into it then. Main takeaways from day one of camp. We watched well off. We talked to Neely. We talked to the guys on the podium. Do you want to start?
I mean, I can start with my broadest takeaway.
Mm-hmm.
To use the restroom when you're waiting for practice, you got to walk up into the stadium,
right,
and walk across. And from that level in the stadium, you could see into the practice field a little bit.
Of course.
I had to take a little peek. Not enough to get me in any trouble, but I just wanted to look out there and just kind of get a wide angle picture of what I was looking at. That looks like a football team, man.
Yes, it does.
And, we pushed back a lot on the idea last year that they were too small and this, that, and the other. But I have to admit, looking out there and seeing that team on the field, there's a noticeable difference in size, in strength. And that's I don't know if I've ever looked at a team from that angle or even when they were just walking off the field and been so impressed with the overall kind of just build of the squad at CU. So that to me was probably the most exciting takeaway. Obviously, we didn't get to peek in on the practice itself, but just looking at the players, yeah, that's a squad.
Yeah, my takeaway I think is pretty similar, and it's something we've really been talking about all off season and in spring football too, and that's just the vibe, the aura, if you will, of this team is completely different than it was last year. It's all about business. You can already sense a certain toughness that I don't think was there last year. A confidence, just an attitude. These guys know what they're capable of, and they know that they're going to have a great season, I think.
Yeah, even just seeing Trevor on the podium, the comfort level, the excitement, the glow. It's definitely noticeable. Even Coach Prime, we just got done watching well off, seeing his kind of address to the team felt a lot more light.
Yeah.
Than I think last year. He very much saw the challenge that lied ahead for them.
Had to set the tone.
And so last year was a lot more aggressive. This year was just more like, hey, we're here. It's about business now, but smiling all the way through. And it just, you can just sense, like you mentioned, an air of confidence.
Let's get into what we saw then. I mean, really, it was just based on well off, but Shedeur still looks locked in. A couple connections with Will Sheppard for some scores.
Yep.
That connection just getting started basically now. They've had the summer, to throw and stuff, but first time in an actual practice setting, and they're already scoring.
Absolutely. And like, we've talked about this before, but remember last year in the preseason, they were just searching for a big wide receiver. And they never really found it. They didn't. I mean, Omari Miller, but he was still a freshman.
Yep.
They didn't have that really tall leaper.
Yep. Javon was hurt early in the year. I think he got hurt after TCU. So
and never really materialized.
Yep.
Watching the way that Shedeur can place the ball in spots that only Will Sheppard can get to already in practice one, when they haven't even had much time to build chemistry. Obviously, they worked out a bit in the summer, but it just, you will notice Shedeur's accuracy more than ever before when he's throwing balls, especially in the red zone, to Will Sheppard, because he can put it up there, and there are not 6'5" corners.
Right.
So, or 6'4", whatever you want to list them at. That to me is really, really exciting.
And then I think the running backs. We'll get to Coach Flea here in a second, but just watching well off, a lot of Brandon Hood, a lot of Micah, and then Charlie standing right next to Shedeur a lot too. So starting basically.
Yep, absolutely. And Coach Flea said it afterwards, like you said, we'll get into it, but he earned it. He said, so everything earned, nothing given, and that's a good place to be when I think you feel confident enough in your team to say every single person has to fight for whatever rep they're going to get. And just because you might be the most talented or whatever does not mean that anything is going to be handed to you. And he's not a walk-on anymore, but the reason you bring walk-ons like Charlie into your program is because you want them to push everyone else.
Yep.
And so now he's setting a standard of effort and accountability that everyone else has to come up to. And that's just one example at the running back position, but that's all across the field. Is no one is going to be handed anything. And you got to look at your teammates who are doing everything right and whatnot. And you have to live up to that standard. Yep.
Just my opinion asked who's the starting linebackers. We'll get to Trevor and we'll talk about that. But first, let's get to Coach Flea. Full press conference as always on our YouTube channel if you want to go check it out. But we got a couple clips, some of the highlights, if you will, from his press conference today. First one just about rotation, really.
Perfect world, do you have a workhorse and then guys who kind of spell him, or would you prefer kind of by committee approach throughout the season?
In today's game, you gotta have two. So, and that's the process we're going through because we're so deep in talent and those guys do a great job. We're going to give them equal opportunity to show who are the best two guys, because it's hard to have three running backs in the game because of the reps. Have a scheme, you have a great.
So we'll get into that first. The Big 12 logo on the podium backdrop.
Feels right.
It looks so good.
It does. It does. It just that's home for us.
Yeah,
it feels right.
But he said two. He wants a top two. He was very clear about that.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting that. I always tell you guys I answer the question in my head before I ask it, trying to get a good answer. And I was kind of expecting him to say more of a by committee approach. But I love the idea of two guys. Whoever it's going to be, they're going to get the bulk share of the carries. And, let's say you run the ball 30 times in a game, those two guys are going to get the lion's share of that.
Yep.
And I love that for a running back room because, I've said this on the show before, any running back will tell you, I need at least 5 just to get a feel for the way things are going. And there's times where, a running back may only get 8 if you're going by, we're switching every drive. So I don't like that. I would much prefer a lead back with a guy behind him who does something a little different than him that you can mix in, and those guys can share the carries. But to me, that was a big development for the first day of camp is we're looking for 2 running backs, and they have a lot more than 2 in that room. So whether it's Dallin and Isaiah or Dallin and Micah or Isaiah and Micah, whatever it is, he kind of went through potential combinations himself. It's exciting to me to think that those guys are realizing that they are fighting to be in the top 2 if they want to really play.
Yeah, I mean, my takeaway from that is a lot of what you just said. But I think a lot of that is what happens when you lose a player like Dylan. I think when you had someone like him, you were so concerned with, we got to get this guy some
10
touches.
touches, yeah.
Yeah, we got to get his speed on the field. You know, we can't just like let him sit on the sideline. But now you take it out. It's kind of a bit like addition by subtraction, because now you have a true running back room and you can develop that true 1-2 punch. Because like you said, I think the best way to approach a running back committee is you have a main guy. You want to have a bell cow per se, and then just like a spell behind him that can take, 5, 10, maybe even 15 sometime carries from that guy. And then just have it be those 2 guys that you kind of run with. Maybe you throw a change of pace in there every now and then, but you keep the rotation tight. And I think, having them do that, whoever wins, it doesn't matter to me really at this point. Just having 2 guys and knowing that you have, they're going to handle the bulk share of the carries is going to be better for this offense.
Yeah, and I can already hear the questions now. There's a lot of guys in that group. Mm-hmm. And if it does end up boiling down to 2, we're going to get a lot of, why isn't so-and-so playing? Why isn't so-and-so playing? Because there's a lot of talent and a lot of good players. But I think over time and, over the course of a season, obviously everyone's going to get in there a little bit.
Yeah.
But being able to lean on your top 2 and having them know going into a game, like, you don't have to try and make something special happen every time you touch the ball. Just hit the hole, keep your feet moving, and you're going to get another opportunity, and hopefully one of them pops for you or multiple pop for you.
Right. But
sometimes when you feel like you've got to make something happen because it's like, oh, we're going with the hot hand, it's like you're trying to become the hot hand. Mm-hmm. It's like a bench player in the NBA who comes in and he's like, hey, I got to show I can score off the bench. Like, I'm going to chuck when I get the ball. If going into the game, I'm going to get 15-ish touches and carries, it allows you to be a little bit more patient.
The next one we'll get to, Coach Flea on the podium has always been interesting to me, and I think I've kind of picked up a bit on how he talks and the way he answers questions. And it's the guys he brings up unprompted, and he brought up 2 unprompted today. If you want to roll the next clip.
That's the part about speaking forward. I think that's don't forget one thing this year we have to do. From Charlie gonna have all the talent to show they can do. From the 2 transfer now, Deion and Isaiah, they add some different things. You got a young guy like Micah. He was here in the spring. He's still fresh out of high school. There's good things in the spring, and then Brandon Hood, who just came to high school.
So he actually mentioned 4 guys there. He mentioned Charlie and Isaiah, but then he just brings up Micah and Brandon Hood at the end.
Yeah.
Didn't mention Dallin.
No, and obviously Dallin is just getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Needs some time to kind of work himself in. But he also later mentioned that, he appreciates the fact that Dallin came from Ohio State and didn't just walk in and say, okay, like, I'm the starting running back, give me the touches. He's being patient in his approach and, letting it come to him, which he said was kind of one of his favorite things about him. So this is going to be one to watch through the entirety of camp. And we just got like a little spice thrown on it with the idea of top 2.
Yep.
I think there was an idea for me at least that it's going to be, there is no starter. There is no, set rotation. You can earn it each week. And obviously that still applies. But I think this competition just got a lot more spicy, knowing that at the end, there's probably going to be a top 2 guys that are going to be featured in that first game and beyond.
Right. So obviously, Charlie's kind of got the leg up in the early lead as we start camp here. But again, we talked about it when we were talking about Wolof earlier. Micah and Brandon were getting touches, man. You saw Isaiah break a run too, but then you saw Dallin, kind of talking to Shedeur. He's getting that on-field quarterback perspective so that he knows exactly where he has to be, what he has to do, everything right on a play-by-play basis so that he can, put his name into the hat for that competition as well.
100%.
All right, let's take a break. And shout out to our friends over at UC Health. We're about to head into probably the busiest time of the year. Going into, fall, winter, holidays eventually. Make sure you take care of yourself. Take care of your mental health. That's what UC Health is on here for. They want to make sure that you guys are living like there is a tomorrow. And they've got plenty of patient stories on their website if you want to go check them out, including David Schlitt. He's a Colorado teenager, loves being active outdoors, and is a prime example of someone taking care of their mental health and living like there is a tomorrow. If you want to learn more about David's story and see more inspiring patient stories from UC Health, you can head over to uchealth.org/tomorrow to learn what it means to live like there is a tomorrow. But shout out UC Health. Coach Prime endorsed.
Also, shout out to Toyota, the other logo that was on that backdrop we had at the pressers. Because, of course, Toyota is a proud partner of CU Athletics, but they're also the official vehicle of DNVR, and couldn't say enough good things about them. Had someone tweet at me today saying they're a big Buffs fan who works at Toyota. So those are the type of people you get. They're DNVR fans, Buffs fans. You're going to get the best possible customer service, the best car service when you go through them. And in most cases, you probably won't even need the car service because the cars are so reliable. So make sure you check out our friends over at Toyota and visit a Front Range Toyota store near you. That is AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corbin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood.
Trevor Woods also spoke on the podium today. An OB, of course, and as we learned actually after press conferences, it was kind of like a state of the team address on the podium today. Coach Flea was up there as associate head coach. Of course, the governor was up there, and then Trevor is one of the OBs, a guy who's been through a ton here at Colorado. But as you said, he seems really like settled in and just comfortable with where he's at. Not just, going to school and on the team, but just as a player right now. Absolutely.
And I guess this thus begins the Trevor Woods discourse, which is always interesting. But I think it's going to become harder and harder for people to hate on Trevor Woods. First and foremost is his body and the way that he's transformed it. Getting all the way up to 217 pounds. Is that what he said?
Yep.
We'll play the clip here in a second, but he's taken the linebacker thing to heart. It's not a hybrid, I'm just waiting for them to call my name to go back to safety. Like, no, I'm all in on linebacker. And as we learned from Neely later in the day, and also Trevor on the podium, he had 2 interceptions today.
Yep.
So making plays, and I look back to, because he talked about, how when you're at safety, they can key in on you. And that's the first thing quarterback's looking at when he gets out there is, okay, where are the safeties? When you're Trevor Woods on the 2022 team, not only are they just looking at the safeties, they're looking at you.
Because he's the best player.
Because he was the best player on that defense.
Yes.
And so it was like, okay, let's just keep it away from him and we'll kind of stay out of trouble. And, he made his biggest plays in the biggest moments when a quarterback's not as worried about him as they are worried about trying to get it to their playmakers, the guys they trust. He was able to key in on them. The fact that he is already comfortable enough at linebacker to kind of roam around and just rely on his instincts. I know there's all sorts of debate about is he fast enough? Is he big enough? This, that, and the other. One thing we've always told everyone is his football IQ is on an incredibly sophisticated level. And plays like getting an interception on a screen is all recognition.
Yep.
It's all, awareness. And that's what he's able to do. That's why coaches always fall in love with him. And this defense being about letting players kind of play and feel the game is going to be a huge boost for him. So the linebacker competition going to be as exciting as the running back competition because there's a lot of good players out there and a lot of raw players out there. But it's no surprise to me that Trevor was with the ones today starting at linebacker because of his just comfortability as a football player.
And Coach Hart's comfortability with having Trevor in there, I think, is huge too. You mentioned the football IQ. It's partially because of that, but he's played a lot of football, man. He played as a true freshman on this team. Obviously, they weren't good, but he's played a lot, and that all adds up. You know, you talk about the football IQ, that doesn't come from nowhere. It's from experience, from film work, and he's shown that. Coach Prime put a lot on his plate. He's compared him to Brian Urlacher already. He was asked about that, but he spoke most notably about the change that he's made to his body with playing linebacker. So if you want to roll the clip.
Yeah, I'm way bigger. I'm way stronger right now. You know, I was just telling Mark that I was 198. I remember my first game of bagger. Right now, I was 217 this morning, so I've gotten a lot bigger and a lot stronger.
20 extra pounds.
I can't tell you how much of a difference that makes. Running into a 300-pound lineman is never easy for a linebacker, but when you're 198 pounds and that guy has 100 pounds on you, you're going to get thrown around a little bit. And we saw it. I mean, he was learning the position literally on the fly.
Yes, in the middle of a season.
Yep, and he was able to make some plays, but he also got washed out quite a bit.
Yeah.
As a linebacker at 220, essentially, now you can make that work. And you can get off blocks and you can, you know, stand your ground. I'm very excited to see the way that he has kind of grown into that body and is able to weaponize it a little bit in the run game, you know, up near the line of scrimmage, because it's not fun as a linebacker when those guys are getting hands on you.
Yeah.
And to that point, it's a defensive line's job to keep the offensive line's hands off those linebackers.
Yes.
Last year, the defensive line really struggled to do that, and it's why teams ran the ball extremely well against this team. That's another thing that should help Trevor is if the defensive line is eating up blocks and he's able to just scrape without having to worry about them getting their hands on him, he's going to make a lot of plays.
As we talked about, he had a big day at practice today. Trevor was asked about it and spoke about it on the podium.
The first one was just the screen.
We heard just
jump the screen. And the second one, they tried to pump fake. They tried to pump fake me. I flip turn. I tell him coach I was gonna do it. I tell him coach that I was gonna do it. But I flip turn and he didn't see me. He didn't see me. He wasn't ready for me to do that.
So there you go. 2 picks, 1 on a screen, 1, I guess, sounds like he kind of baited the quarterback.
And again, this is the real value of cross-training.
Yes.
Trevor Woods is incredibly comfortable with turning his hips and running. As a safety, you're doing it all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of linebackers don't like that part of the game. You know, like our own Todd Davis, who is with us, will tell you, like, yeah, man, I hated when I had to flip my hips and go run with someone because it's just not as natural for them. Those guys who are natural linebackers, they want to get downhill and pop people.
Yeah.
Trevor Woods has spent his whole life turning and running. So he mentions there, like, they tried to pump fake me. I knew I turned my hips and sprinted back. He was able to make that play. That's like a full-on, like, Madden user, or I should say CFB, like, user lurk.
For sure.
Just run to the spot where you know, because you recognize the concept. And, you know, maybe it's levels or something like that. But he knew what was coming, was able to turn and run and make a play. So, again, a lot of people have a lot of questions about Trevor Woods, but day one, he's making plays like that. He's only going to keep getting more and more comfortable at that position. I will be not surprised. In fact, I might be surprised if he's not on the field for the first defensive snap against NDSU.
D Mills asked if they were both on Shedeur. Trevor's working with the ones, so those are on Staub against the number 2 offense.
Yep. One thing you have to remember about Coach Prime practices is he prefers 1 offense versus 2 defense and 1 defense versus 2 offense.
Yep.
I'm actually planning on asking him about that. First time we get to talk to him this year, which is
next Friday.
Because I find it to be an interesting approach, and a lot of coaches like it that way. Some coaches do it the other way, but I think it's more about, like, getting your guys comfortable out there and more about actually practicing. You know what I mean? Rather than playing.
Yeah. Trevor also just spoke about his overall transition from safety to linebacker and how much further along he is in that transition after practice.
Kind of like what I was saying. Like, I don't get seen a lot. You know, when you're a safety, they're keying the safeties. The quarterback's keying the safeties. At linebacker, I could kind of. I mean, I don't even really have to disguise sometimes because they're not looking at me. So just simple things like that. Coverage, I feel like it's just easier to sneak up on something.
So, yeah, I think a lot of that is what we mentioned, the comfort with him. He's obviously a very smart player and stuff, but I don't think it's mentioned enough. I think you brought it up too. Just this guy started a new position in the middle of the year. Like, that's so hard to do, especially when the reason why he had to change positions is because Juju was, dealing with his stuff. Like, we didn't have much depth at linebacker last year, so it was kind of out of need. They needed another person to step up. And he filled that role admirably, I thought, last year. But now, just having the full slate of preparation, you get to prepare through your offseason like a linebacker, try and bulk up, which he obviously did. Big things are in store for Trevor this season.
Totally. And not only was it a need from an injury and availability standpoint, I think that the coaching staff felt a need to have Trevor Woods on the field.
Yes.
And it was difficult to get him in at safety because they had great players back there, Shiloh, Cam, Roderick Ward was playing really good ball when he came in for. Yep. I guess that's basically what happened is Rod came in for Shiloh and Shiloh was out. Mm-hmm. He played so well. I remember Coach giving him a shout out specifically in like the next team meeting, and it was like, okay, we have another weapon here on defense in Rod Ward. We love having Cam out there. There's not a spot at safety for Trevor right now as much as there is a spot at linebacker. We want him out there on the field because remember they had God, I'm blanking on his name. The holdover linebacker,
Marvin Ham. He was available, but he wasn't playing, and they wanted to get Trevor out there for kind of his ability to recognize, get guys in the right place, help everyone line up. Yep. So to the question, who do we think is starting linebackers? It seems like Trevor's obviously in there. I think Bentley would be the favorite, but someone pointed out in the comments, Bentley is out there beefing with Benson. So that probably means Bentley's on second team going up against first team offense.
Great point.
So
Nakai,
Jalen Wester,
yep.
The chainsaw, JB. Who would you slot next to Trevor then?
I mean, my initial instinct was Bent, but Nakai Hill Green, I mean, is a guy that we talked about having the ability to be a captain on this team, or a leader. So if it weren't Bent, I would probably go Nakai.
I think I have to do the same. I think if they played a game tomorrow, that's what you roll with. Obviously, we're going through this process now,
But against NDSU, you probably want Bentley out there because they are going to be heavy power running the ball, that sort of thing.
Very downhill, and that's what he does best too. So
exactly.
It'll be interesting and the fact that you just brought up, I think North Dakota State is a different enough team where you might see things in week one or in the lead up to week one that might not be indicative of what they're going to plan on doing the entire season.
Yep. And we're supposed to talk to Coach Livingston Wednesday, right?
Yep.
Well, my question to him is who's wearing the green dot?
Yep. Because
that will give us a big hint into someone that they are confident is going to start. And we know that Shiloh didn't like having it.
Yep.
So I would not be shocked if he says Trevor.
Honestly, yeah. I think that'd be the pick right now.
Yeah.
I saw someone ask, so Wednesday it's Coach Livingston and players, and then Friday, Pat Shermer and players. So
of course, all of that is subject to change.
Of course, yeah. And then Media Day. They're playing a Media Day next week, too.
Yes, Media Day will be fun. If you guys remember last year, we got a bunch of guys that we had been hoping to get on the show during Media Day because it's kind of a free-for-all. So we spoke to Alto, Tank,
Javon, JD, Charlie, Mikey, tons of dudes.
So we'll get a bunch of exciting content next Friday.
Yep, just getting started here. Let's hit the like button, guys. Let's get those pumped up for day one of camp. Subscribe to the channel. And let's take another quick break. Shout out to our friends over at Bet365, the GOATs. It's almost football season. We're gearing up for it. So make sure you sign up at Bet365 right now. Get those preseason futures in. There's some game lines up. I think they have Nebraska up now. at Bet365. But of course, NDSU is up, so get in on that. And everything else, Big 12 futures, Heisman futures, if you're in a state that allows you. But sign up with the code DNVR365, deposit $10 for the bet and get offer. Then all you need to do is place a bet of $5 or more, no matter what happens with that bet. Hit or miss. Once it cashes, you get $150 in bonus bets into your account. You must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Also, shout out to Circle K.
Welcome back to Circle K.
Yes, welcome back, Circle K. And I have circled on a map a spot right across the street for you guys to come move in.
Please,
Circle K. We are begging you to move in across the street. We need there's something about walking into a Circle K that hits.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many options.
I know the feeling. Yeah.
It's like nice and open.
Yep.
Love a Circle K. And Circle K is actually helping us with a really exciting project that we're working on right now that you guys will know about soon. So you can even get deals at Circle K if you go to www.circlek.com/innercircle to become an Inner Circle Rewards member. You can get a discount on gas, which I don't know who wouldn't want that. Discounts on snacks, also great. So shout out to our friends over at Circle K. Also, there was a comment there about the sound quality of the...
We can't control the wind, guys.
Wasn't going to be so aggressive about it. But just so you guys know, we have a microphone up there. We're doing everything that's in our control to get the best possible sound that we can get. The wind just started whipping the second that they walked up to the podium.
Nearly blew the tent away.
Yeah,
today.
There was no wind. We were sitting there for an hour waiting for practice to end. No wind at all. The second that they start walking towards the podium, wind starts whipping. So hopefully we won't get that. But also just know that we're always trying to do everything we can to get the highest quality content to you guys. And honestly, we had a microphone. So anyone who didn't, theirs is probably even worse because of the wind.
Yep.
But we're always working to try and make sure that we have the highest quality.
We got a roster update finally, too, just in time for camp. So I'm just going to kind of run through this. I don't know if you want to pull it up, too, so that you can, I guess, see and jump in with me. But we'll start right at the top. Number 1. There is no number 1.
Good one.
I think we've kind of talked about it a bit. Who could get this jersey number? Who's worthy of having this jersey number? Do you think it's still LaJohntay, even though he looks pretty good in that 10?
It's either him or nobody in my estimation. Not because no one else is worthy of it. I have a feeling that Coach probably might just be saying, like, I'm not giving it out this year. And that's fine. I think Neely was telling us that no one was wearing number 1 at Jackson. So it might just be one of those things where he's like, I gave it out last year, and we saw how that worked out.
Yeah.
We're sticking with no number 1s. But if it were to go somebody, I would think it would be LaJohntay. He does look good and comfortable in that number 10. Shades of Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think that it's entirely possible we don't have a number 1 this season. I think that obviously Travis would be the number 1. We've already talked about this, but he wants his 12, so he gets that. I'm totally fine with it, though. If there's no one to give it to, then don't give it out.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
I think LaJohntay is worthy and would look great in it, and obviously has worn it in his career. So I kind of hope he gets it. 1 is my favorite number on a football player.
Yeah, same.
So I hope someone gets it for that selfish reason. But every coach has their own things. No one gets 0, so maybe no one gets 1.
Number 3, we only have 1, and it's on defense. It's Colton Hood.
Looks great on him.
Draylon Miller is going to be in 6, along with Herman Smith. And then Dallin Hayden joining Cam in the 7 club.
Yeah, number 7 on a running back. How do you feel about that?
Reminds me of Leonard Fournette.
I was going to say playoff Lenny.
Yep.
I was trying to think of anyone with that. For me, it reminds me of, I think, one of, if not my first ever favorite player for the Buffs, linebacker by the name of Ja'Shawn Sykes, which also, what a name.
Yeah, great name.
Sideline to sideline linebacker, had the neck roll or the
hell yeah, the
cowboy collar, protecting his neck. Dude was an absolute beast. So that's the 7 that comes to my mind when I think of Colorado football players. And he was a dog. Hopefully Dallin is as well.
LaJohntay's 10. Will Sheppard in his 14 that he had at Vandy. C5, 15.
C15, I guess.
Yep. Cam Michael, 18, along with our new kicker, Alexander Stoyanovich.
What do you think about Cam in 18?
That's a freshman number.
Yeah, there's no 3 on offense.
It's the freshman number. I'll get a different one next year.
I hope he earns number 3.
We talked a lot about retired numbers. No 19. So they kept that. Preston keeps the 24. He's
Nice.
the only 24. Johnny Chaney Jr. is 22. Dominique Ponder, the new quarterback, is 22 as well.
What's with these quarterbacks in the 20s?
I don't know. Weird, though. Isaiah Augustave, 23. Brandon Hood in the 26. BJ Green's in his 35 still.
How about BJ Green? Can we talk about BJ Green for a second?
Yeah, let's do it.
We heard Coach Prime talk about this a little bit at Media Day, but there is a real vibe around the building right now that BJ Green is an NFL player.
Yep.
And we've talked so much about impact transfers, and we've definitely mentioned him plenty, but I'm starting to wonder if maybe we haven't mentioned him enough.
I'm all about it, man.
Yeah.
I think he's a real player. I think he's going to be a difference maker on this team. And Neely's got a pretty impressive clip that he's going to put out.
I was going to say, it's hard for me to keep track of when everyone's dropping what content. It might already be out there. Maybe people have seen it. If you haven't, just wait till you see the clip that Neely has of BJ Green.
Yep. Moving through the rest of the roster here. Nikai Hill Green is 41. I believe that's what he wore at Michigan. I don't know what he wore at Charlotte.
I think it was also 41.
Also 41. Trenton Hood, 46. Ray and Buell, 47. Deion Hayes, 50. Yo-Yo Atia, 59.
Can someone please send this to EA?
They need it. Peyton Kirkland, 71. Zach Owens, 75. Sam Hart, 81.
Terrell Timmons, old school,
there you
wide
go,
receiver in the 80s. 82.
Only 2 wide receivers in the 80s. Jordan O in
Yep.
80 and Terrell in 82.
And you mentioned it, but in the well-off video, Jordan O looks big.
He looks very big. Same with, who was the DB? RJ Johnson, number 5, the safety. Holy cow.
Yes.
Rest of the numbers here. Tafiq Thomas, 95.
Or light skin, as Coach Prime called him.
Or light skin, yeah. Only player on the roster who doesn't have a number yet is Ben Boozy. And with that, no Ethan Boyd or Chris Morris on the roster. Sounds like Ethan Boyd, the former Michigan State offensive lineman, has medically retired from football. And I haven't heard anything about Chris Morris, but he's not on the roster, not with the team.
Yeah, I was talking to someone yesterday who follows Michigan State, and they said that Michigan State people were really surprised when Ethan Boyd transferred to Colorado because they thought already that he was going to retire from football.
Okay.
So it sounded like he was kind of on the fence about the game. Maybe he wanted to give it a new chance, fresh slate, you know, new scenery, and just realized like maybe this just isn't for me.
Yep.
So best of luck to him.
For sure. We got about 5 minutes here until our next break. Any other takeaways from day one that you want to mention? If you didn't watch our takeaways video, Neely said LaJohntay is as good as he is in real life as he is in the video game.
Yeah, which is so funny because as I mentioned in there, Brandon Spano, our CEO, was texting me last night. He's like, dude, is LaJohntay Wester sick for you in the game? I was like, yeah, he's very sick for me in the game. He was like, is he that good in real life? I was like, yeah, he's like that. And then literally Neely comes out unprompted, never even told him about that interaction, and goes, he's just as good as he is in the game in real life.
Yep. The chippiness, though. And it's something that, again, Neely talked away in the takeaways. that wasn't like that in day one last year. Day one, it was a lot of guys, trying to figure out where they kind of fall in with the team, what's expected. It was mentioned in the comments, but you saw Bent and Khalil going at it. Khalil was going at it like 2 or 3 times, I think, too.
Yeah, Trevor Woods had a hilarious quote about it afterwards. They're like, who do you chirp the most with on offense? He was like, everyone chirps the most with Khalil Benson because he's chirping. And then I forget what the question was, about something about fights. And he's like, yeah, there's going to be a fight on every play because of Khalil. But he's a great guy off the field.
Yeah. Neely gave the edge to the defense today again. Keeping up with the trend from spring, man.
Defense, to me, spring, I don't remember, how it shook out, but defense usually has the advantage early in camp.
Yeah.
There's, if you think about it, there's usually about half as many plays in a defensive playbook, if not less, than an offensive playbook. So the offense is working on installing things a lot more. And obviously the defense is too, but when the offense is kind of thinking and the defense is just playing, that's usually the way things are on the front side of camp. What you'd like to see is defense winning early, offense evening it out in the backside of camp, meaning they're getting comfortable in the offense and just starting to play.
Right. Someone asked in the comments if we knew who the interior D-line rotation was. We didn't actually get to see practice. We just watched well off, and that's where most of our actual practice takeaways come from.
Yeah, you might have to rewatch later with a notepad out.
Yeah. Charting
the depth chart.
There's some nuggets in there. There's some stuff you can notice.
Yep.
Anything else you want to hit before we hit this break and get to questions?
No. Think I'm good.
Shedeur has been named to the Maxwell Award watch list, though. And we were talking about that walking out of the facility today. The Maxwell Award is presented annually to the best player in college football. And, we're walking down Legacy Hall, right? That's what it's called?
Yeah.
By Rashawn's Heisman, all the Thorpe Awards, all that stuff. The list of All-Americans. And I told you, this is all going to grow here very, very soon.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of just looking at everything, and I pointed to where the Heisman was, and I was like, you're going to have to make room for another one here.
Yep.
And then we started looking at Maxwell. You said more, a few more All-Americans.
Yep.
This is going to be a special year. I think a lot of people are ready for that, but I hope people are ready for it because I think it's going to be really special. By the way, quick take on uniforms. The practice jerseys look a million times better. I like that they're in tight practice jerseys because it stops the habit of grabbing onto a jersey to tackle someone, which you can't do in the game. I mean, those guys can barely get their jerseys off after the game. They're on so tight. So I like that. The question is, are they a hint towards what the real jerseys could look like? Asked around a little bit. The answer is no.
Do you think you're being lied to?
No.
Okay.
No one lies to me. Come on.
All right.
I'm just kidding. I don't think so, honestly. I think that there's going to be some, minimalist looks, but I think there's going to be a lot more going on than what we're seeing on those practice jerseys.
That's a good question by Chris. Is Travis's trophy there yet? Because he won the Paul Hornung Award last year for the most versatile player in the country. I don't remember seeing a new trophy there.
I don't either.
So we've yet to get that.
Was the weather nice during practice? It was literally perfect.
Oh, today was an amazing day up there in Boulder. It was warm. It's still the summer for sure. Maybe it was the wind helping it out, but it was honestly perfect temperature, I thought.
Yep.
All right, I'm scanning through. I think we've hit just about everything. Let us know in the comments what your favorite thing from day one is or big takeaway. Shout out to our friends over at Infinity Park. Rugby is back. It's actually a great opportunity to get into the game of rugby right now with the Summer Olympics going on. We were watching some of the women's rugby sevens, I think it was sevens, at lunch today.
Yep.
Great game.
It is a great game, man. I'm still kind of learning it. But I like it. I enjoy watching the rugby. Honestly, the Olympics in general, pretty good right now.
Yeah.
I'm not fully dialed, but I'm coming back around. I remember I said earlier that I was kind of out on the Olympics a little bit. I think I'm back in.
All right. Welcome back.
No delay is really helping.
I forgot about rugby being an Olympic sport. So now that I remembered that and saw it, I'm back in on Summer Olympics.
All right. Welcome back.
And rugby is just getting started out here in Colorado too. If you didn't get the ticket you wanted as an elite athlete, check out the opportunities at Infinity Park. Rugby just may be your next ride. You can go hang out for the 2024 Rugby Town Sevens tournaments that is taking place August 23rd to 25th. It's going to be 62 matches spread over 3 days in Glendale, Colorado. And if you haven't been to Infinity Park yet, go check it out. That place is awesome. But don't miss out on this extraordinary event, the top-tier competition and unforgettable moments. Tickets are on sale now. Visit rugbytownusa.com for more info. Gather your friends and family and join them for a weekend of spectacular rugby action. We'll see you there.
Also, the final DNVR golf tournament coming up soon, at least of this year, August 16th at Legacy Ridge Golf Course up there, a little bit closer to Boulder. So if you're one of those people who's like, I can't make it down to Denver for that tournament, or I guess Littleton, I think where the other one is. Now we're moving up closer to Boulder, so you want to get in on this one. This is the third year of the Kickoff Classic, and the idea of it was kind of like it's a salute to the summer and a hello to football season. So perfect way to kind of end the summer with a nice little scramble down there at Legacy Ridge. So make sure you go to the events page at thednvr.com/events to check out what's coming, including the golf tournament, and get your foursome signed up.
All right, get your questions in now. We got about 13 minutes. Let's get in as many as we can. There's a lot to talk about with camp just starting. Who is up first? We already talked about that one.
Where's the visor?
Where's the visor, man?
I did not purchase the visor. It was merely a Kodak moment.
I tried to get him to buy it, man.
Maybe next time. I had
You
to
look
buy
good in it, bro.
It is a vibe for sure for the stream. I don't think I would ever wear it in a normal situation, which was my hesitation. Like, I bought a nice new polo for the stream, but that one I can wear on the golf course and wear around normally. $36 for something that just goes into the stream. Maybe. It's a maybe.
So that means subscribe to RK's Twitch if you want to see him.
Yeah, I need the Twitch to start churning some more revenue so that we can reinvest it back into the fits.
There you go. Speaking of Twitch, I'll stream tonight. I said I was going to stream over the weekend, but we found out yesterday that camp starts bright and early Monday morning. So I was like, well.
Also, we got the over on 12 hours.
Over on 12 hours.
Remember we were setting over under what we learned 12 hours
yes.
before? It was over. It was like, what, 16, 18 hours?
Well, we were heard.
Yeah. Well, closed mouths don't get fed.
Love you guys. Shout out Curtis. Joshua, any concern after seeing all the pressure on two in the well-off video SCO? I don't think so. As Neely said, and as you put it too, defense kind of has the edge in these early days of camp. And from what we've heard going back to spring, again, this defense is for real, especially up front with those edge rushers.
Yep. And you'd love to have an offensive line that's spent 3 years playing together, but you don't. You have an offensive line that got, 14 practices so far together? They've got 24 more.
Yep.
So, again, by the end of camp is what you want to see, like that offensive line gelling as one fist instead of five fingers.
Yep. Jeremy asks, Coach Flea definitely said a by-committee approach last year. Why the change of philosophy? I feel like I kind of shared my thoughts on that with the departure of Dylan. I don't know if you have anything else to add to that.
I think the big thing for me is they saw that no one could get a rhythm last year. And also there was a lot of weird stuff going on. Why am I forgetting the name? Oh, Hankerson.
Yeah.
He kind of became the number one at certain points, but I think what happened was they came into camp hoping Alto would be the number one.
Yes.
Alto was not physically ready. So then it was Savion Wilkerson, Dylan Edwards, Hank, Charlie, and they were just kind of saying, someone please take this job.
Yes.
And I don't think it ever quite happened, so it was easier to say by committee. And it was also easier to just say, like, let's just put Dylan out there because he's one touch away from housing it at all times.
Right.
That also never came to fruition outside of course, the TCU game. So I think it was a personnel issue more than anything last year, and they're kind of just hoping someone would get hot and run with it.
Yep. Daryl asks, what do you all think about the secondary so far? I feel great about the secondary. I think we've got a great top line, of course, headlined by Travis, Shiloh, Preston, DJ, and Cam, and then just seeing Colton Hood's development, seeing RJ Johnson just like walk around out there. I feel great.
Yeah, Colton Hood, I think, can be kind of a catalyst to take this secondary to the next level. And I think was he starting today? Because we saw.
Don't know.
Well, I don't know, but.
Oh, well, are you talking about? So, I think DJ did something wrong, or he allowed a catch or something.
On Omarion.
And then coach like pulled DJ to the side, started talking to him, but he was talking to Colton also, kind of in that moment.
So, I mean, you hope that you get two guys there.
Yeah.
And if both of them are dudes, then you really have something. But I feel good about the secondary, and we'll just see how it comes together.
Big Pen Kings asked who's number 5 on defense, and that's RJ Johnson.
Yep.
This is probably the same clip that made me look it up.
Do you remember like back in the day when like Texas was at their best? They always just had those like big menacing safeties that wore single-digit numbers.
Yep.
That's what I thought of when I saw RJ Johnson out there.
A really impressive frame. Dave Rich asked, is Will the best 15 since Bloom? Will is 14.
Yeah, he's wearing 14.
But 15 is C5 and Mark Vassett.
Mark Vassett might be the best 15 since Bloom.
Honestly. Atlanta Stay Focused and Informed says, can I get a practice jersey? #ScoBuffs.
Maybe 5430 will auction them off.
There you go. D-Mills asks, when's the first day in pads? I don't know. I'm sure it's sometime this week, though.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's as early as tomorrow.
Yeah. Triple L says, good evening, fellas. I have tickets for the season opener, section 220, row 59. What part of the stadium should I park on?
Oh, if only it were that easy.
Good luck.
Park where you can.
Yes.
And it's not hard to get to any part of the stadium from inside the stadium.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that. But exciting news for our tailgates. There will be a parking option available. So you could buy your parking and the tailgate together. So you can just park at the tailgate and not have to worry about kind of like moving around from there.
Yep.
More info to come on that soon.
Yeah, the CU and Boulder, especially Boulder near CU, that area is kind of congested, really tight. So parking is at a premium up there.
Yes.
I'm Heaven's Demon. Jake and RK, have any of you recruited a 5-star yet in your dynasty? I'm struggling getting 5 stars. I got my first yesterday.
I mean, this shows the what year are you in?
Year 4.
Okay. I was going to say this shows the difference between your recruiting abilities and mine because I won the national championship and I still can't get a 5-star. But you've already got one. So you've got one on me that I don't have.
I mean, I know people don't like us talking about the game too much, but I'm going to take a few seconds here. You got to find them that they're already interested in you. It helps if they're in your pipeline.
I had like 4 who I was number 1 on their list.
Yep. So, and another thing I've learned with the recruiting is you just got to learn the deal breakers as fast as you can. And once you learn those deal breakers, you got to send the hard sell because that gains you the most influence. If you team up a hard sell with a visit, you have complimentary visits along with the other guy that you're trying to recruit to visit. And then, you keep on just throwing, I think you can get up to 65 recruiting hours with a hard sell. So you could add the friends and family recruiting thing too, or just add in a DM or something. Just anything to boost your influence, really. That's what you need. You're
playing chess. I'm playing checkers.
We're trying to build a true dynasty here, man.
Together, we would make an unbelievable team.
We would. Miss Kennedy the Cat, chances of wide receivers with 900 or more each. Oof.
Multiple wide receivers with 900 or more? I'd say there's a chance.
I mean, there's 2 for sure that I think that get it.
Travis.
And LaJohntay.
And Will Sheppard, man. But I think he could have like 10 touchdowns, 775,
And those were his lines pretty much identically at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
All right, on to Super Chats. East Coast Kev says, which position group are you guys really high on? I'm biased towards how improved the D-line looks. Sapp and Lewis are a great team.
Yeah, they are, man. Did you see the video of them Coach Lewis just going crazy about fatigue?
Yep.
I love that, man.
Yep.
I love that type of like hard-nosed coaching. I would say I'm incredibly high on the wide receivers. I don't think it's possible to be higher on a group than I am on the wide receivers.
Yep. And, just what Coach Flea was saying today on the podium, I think that the running backs are greatly improved, and I think he feels a lot more comfortable with what he has in that room.
Yep.
Shout out to everyone who turned into BWAT's stream yesterday. That was fun hanging and talking with the guys.
Super sticker, $10. Shout out to Warren P. Hippo character with a pink hat. Flips it backwards and raises his thumb in the air.
I miss the super stickers.
I know. Bring back super stickers.
Casey asks, 2 running backs makes you think of Chris Brown and Bobby Purify.
Man, that's like, you're just speaking directly to my soul right there. Chris Brown and Bobby Purify. The crazy thing about them is it was like double power backs.
Yeah.
And they would just bludgeon teams. It was a beautiful thing.
I mean, look, man, Dallin and Isaiah are pretty big. Mike is big too.
Yep.
So,
yep. Isaiah's really, really big.
yeah.
Do you realize how fast that show felt like it went by?
It's so nice to have football back, man.
When you went to the first break, I was like, bro's going to first break like 7 minutes in. Nope.
No.
15 on the dot.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
What happened to the lineman who quit, medically retired? I don't know what happened to Morris, the Mississippi kid. What else we got going in the chat? We have a few minutes to kill.
Shout out to Team Colorado and the TBT.
Yes.
Swept Kansas right off the map. No one even noticed.
They're in the quarterfinals now, I believe, and they play the Houston alumni.
Yep. They're running through some really good basketball programs.
Yeah.
Kansas State, Wichita State, Kansas. Now they get Houston. Shout out to them. Hope they win. Also, shout out Derek White.
Yep.
It's just crazy seeing him like in the Olympics.
I know.
This is a guy who you should go look up the pictures of him in high school. He looked like a child on the court in high school. Now he's playing in the Olympics with a bald head.
Yep. Baron asks, what's Rick George's plan for the west side of the stadium?
Go watch our interview with him from Big 12 Media Days. It sounds
yep.
sick what he was proposing.
I don't know. It doesn't sound like it's anything that's going to happen soon, though.
No.
I think he said the CU Event Center is first, right?
Yes. Well, no, he didn't. Actually didn't say that. He said figuring out how to pay players is first. He didn't actually say that, but that's what I heard.
That's pretty much. Which of the strength and conditioning coaches are leaving? Oh man, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I can see his face though.
Me too. Going to the Panthers though.
I think they already took him off the site. So
there you go. Good for him.
It was the big dude with the longer dreads.
Yeah.
Coach Taylor, I want to say.
I think you're right. Yeah. Can players share numbers on offense and defense? They can. Not supposed to have 2 of the same on offense, even though it happens in CFB. Is that it?
I think so. How many picks for Trevor in the linebacker spot? Give me 4.
I mean, he had 2 in the first 3 weeks last year.
Rendrick Taylor, thank you, 94's finest.
There you
go. He's leaving for the Carolina Panthers. Tyler Brown, I think, broke that story, posting it on his Instagram story.
Tyler Brown with the scoops.
Yep. And the strongest man who has ever lived, apparently.
Yes. All right, y'all.
All right.
We'll be back.
Yeah, early tomorrow.
Yeah, normal time tomorrow, really, 12:30. And then back to 3:15 on Wednesday.
Yep. So Wednesday and Friday we'll be up in Boulder. I think Wednesday's show might be pretty special too. So you have that to look forward to. Written content coming later in the week on camp. We're back.
Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.